All right, friends, today our multi-talented speaker, who is the musician as well as going to inspire us with his message today, all 49 pages. So brace yourself. All right, Richard Inman, go ahead.
Okay. Wow. Great service, everybody. I'm enjoying myself. Normally, I like laying down during the service. It's required that I actually sit up during this part. I woke up this morning. I thought, hey, you know what? I need to talk about something that I didn't know what I wanted to talk about. I was trying to figure out what was the interesting message, what was the important message. And the thing I came up with, or I found a little blurb that stated what I was trying to say. And it's called Preparing for Good. The name of our talk today is Rising Above. And one of the ways we can rise above is prepare for good. And I found this little blurb. I just want to start off with this. It says, refuse to be daunted or delayed by apparent adverse circumstances. Fixate on an outcome that far transcends the predicament we seem to be in. At a time when so many people are in fear and preparing for the worst, those who prepare for greater things can offset much and tilt the balance of destiny. Even if things don't turn out exactly as we expect, one thing is for sure. When we prepare for the best, we dramatically increase the likelihood of the best coming about. Sometimes having the party before the victory paves the way for victory. Sometimes having the party, and that's something I want to commend our church for, especially the last couple of years. We have been having the party. We've been meeting at the Victorian. We've been meeting on Sundays. People have been praying on Wednesdays. Ambassadors have been out visiting people. We have continued the party regardless. And we have been undaunted or delayed by apparent adverse circumstances, preparing for good. I had a memory come back to me this week that was I hadn't thought of in years. Back in 1962, I was 8 years old. We were living on Fairchild Air Force Base, which is at that time it was called the home of the Strategic Command. And we had all these, I grew up there for 3 years, and we had, we had all kinds of missile silos and bombers and big jets, and we were basically living in a very warlike environment. And during 1962, October of 1962, we had a thing called the Cuban Missile Crisis. For those of you who don't remember the Cuban Missile Crisis, or who were not alive, many of us were. Basically, Russia was trying to build some bomb sites on Cuba. And we decided we weren't going to allow that, so we stopped them from bringing in the nuclear weapons that would have put us in danger. And at that time, during that 2-week period called the Cuban Missile Crisis, first of all, we were told, we lived on the Air Force Base, we were told we cannot leave the base. And we said, okay, we need you guys to stock up on food, put it in the basement. If you hear sirens, you need to go down into the basement and stay there until we tell you to come out. And we were all told the reason why is because if we are to be bombed, we will be the first one to be bombed, because this is where all the planes and missiles are. And I was pretty like, what? We have to go in the basement? That's going to... Anyway, at 8 years old, I realized that was kind of a preposterous recommendation. Anyway, so Mom put a bunch of food in the basement, made a little place for us to sleep. And sure enough, the sirens go off and we go into the basement. Dad was at work because he was on call 24 hours a day. We were like, oh my goodness, the world's going to end. The Russians are going to bomb us. And Mom knew that being locked up with me for 2 or 3 days might be interesting. And so she decided to organize a few activities, a bunch of books, and she decided to teach me to roller skate in the basement. So we're down there thinking, well, we might be bombed, but meantime, we're going to learn how to roller skate. So we had those strap-on roller skates, and I fell down a bunch of times. But by the end of a day and a half of staying in the basement, I had learned how to roller skate. And I call that preparing for good. The world might end, but I'm going to be roller skating out of here. And so, we have people in our congregation and in our world that are preparing for good, even though we are being faced with adverse circumstances. And I want to thank you people that are thinking about preparing for good. I was thinking about having an Easter choir, and then all of a sudden this happened. I'm like, well, should we have an Easter choir? I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. But preparing for good is, I could have named this talk Preparing for Good. Anyway, there's a song that I used to sing for my mom. She loved it. And she was a prepare for good person. She was a look for the silver lining person. We had been through many adverse circumstances growing up on military bases and traveling all over the world. And she was just great at that. And there's a song I would sing for her. And I was going to check with Chris. Do we have You Raise Me Up queued up, Chris?
We do.
I would like to play that song in honor of all you people who are preparing for good. Send this out to Mom wherever she is. And yeah.
When I am down and oh my soul so weary, when troubles come and my heart burden be, then I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. To I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up to more than I can be.
Ooh. I got to myself on that song. That was oh, well, love that tune. So this is the fourth Sunday, and we talk about prayer. And I found a few things I like about prayer. Prayer is creative thinking that heightens the connection with God mind, and therefore brings forth wisdom, healing, prosperity, and everything good. Affirmative prayer is the activity that allows us to know our oneness. Prayer is not something we do for God, but is something we do to maintain our awareness of truth. Prayer is the activity by which we may directly experience God. And I ran across this. I was, I'm on Facebook, and folks were posting on, excuse me, we're posting on Facebook, pray for Ukraine, pray for that. And I thought, anyway, I found someone posted this, and I thought, wow, I needed to share that. So since this is the prayer Sunday and we have a lot to pray for, I'd like to share this prayer for you. So if you want to just relax, take a deep breath, let go of your earthly concerns, and open your, close your eyes if you'd like. And I'm just going to read this prayer. God of peace, be with the people of Ukraine, with the mothers who carry babies to subway shelters, with the fathers who hold their heads in their hands, with children who absorb the traumas. God of peace, we don't know the words to pray for a warring world and all who are vulnerable in it. We don't pretend to know what tomorrow will bring, but we know that you are a God of peace. You comfort the crying and heal the hurt. Tend the aching and soothe the fearful. Make us instruments of your peace, creating a sacred symphony where rhythms of grace are danced upon, now and forever. God of peace, hear our prayer. I was on Facebook, and I had a friend who has people who live in Kiev, and this was a couple days ago, and they shared what they had done that day. They said they woke up and they'd heard bombing in the distance, and they decided they had this delicious cake that they had bought. They thought, okay, we're gonna just eat some cake. Let's have some cake, drink some coffee. And then the bombs got closer, and they decided they were gonna go down in the subway and finish their cake. And that kind of touched me. It was like, that would be me. I would be going to get some cake. That comes back to that being refused to be daunted or delayed by apparent adverse circumstances. Every moment that we are living on this planet Every breath we take is a sacred breath. And it's our job to bathe in the joy and light of existence, living here on this beautiful planet. It's very easy for us here. We live in one of the most beautiful locations on the planet with some of the most beautiful weather, eating some of the most fantastic food. At least that's the way I'm living my life now. But there are people who are having difficulties in this world. And it's important that we hold them in our prayers and send out our love and light. Talking about preparing for the good, I found this, I like this. Preparing our new beginning is the best way to alleviate stress and anxiety. It's kind of difficult sometimes now, preparing for our new beginning. We are preparing a new beginning here in our church. We're going to be meeting in person, I guess, starting next Sunday. I'll be out of town, but I'll be back. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all in 3D form. There's nothing like seeing people in 3D form. We were messing around trying to get our Zoom all set up the other day at church. And there was Brian, big old tall string bean Brian. I went up and gave him a hug. It was like, I needed to see him. You know, we need to see each other. So I'm very grateful for us being able to meet together in real form. So preparing new beginnings, it brings great freedom and comfort to know that we don't have to figure it all out. We don't have to know all the steps. We don't have to know the how and when, but it is to know the why and with. And that with is, a lot of the unity principles talk about praying and connecting with God, and God is omnipresent, omnipowerful. That's who we're doing it with. That's who we are doing our preparing for good with. God, the good. And God is everywhere. God is in us, around us, everywhere. I remember I was raised a Baptist. Actually, I was raised multiple religions. For those of you who are parents with only children, you look for ways to entertain your kid, because usually, you got your brothers and sisters to entertain each other. But when you have an only child, you're trying to figure out, what am I going to do with this kid? He's driving me crazy. So my parents used to drop me, and we were moving every few months, every few years. And so my parents would drop me off at vacation Bible schools or anything, in any church. I would get dropped off in different churches. I remember the first time I was dropped off in a Catholic church, and I went in there and I didn't know all the standing up, sitting down, standing up. I was like, wow, I'm tired. This is exhausting. I don't know if I want to be a Catholic. So I forgot where I was. Anyway, preparing our new beginning, it brings great freedom and comfort to know that we don't have to figure it out. We don't have to figure it out. All we have to know is why and with, and we are doing our preparing for good with omnipresence, omnipower. We are mighty lights. We don't have to know how and when. I know I have a very active mind, and when I wake up in the morning, quite often my brain's trying to figure out what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it and where am I going to do it and blah 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 blah. How, and it's circular thinking, if any of you have that going on. And I do this preparation to get into prayer, which is let go of that thought, let go of that thought, let go of that thought until I find a place of stillness. Be still and know that I am God. That be still part's tough for me anyway. Sometimes it takes me 3 or 4 minutes of letting go. Let go of that thought. Let go of your trying to know how and when and all that. Give it up. Let go and let God, the omnipresence, omnipowerful, all-knowing, everywhere God. Let God do God's work. You look at a tree. Look at those palm trees. And you look at the palms and they start to, you know, the palms shed off their palm leaves and they dry up and they fall. The palm tree is not worried about their palm leaves falling and disappearing. That is part of God's plan. Sometimes things fall away, sometimes things go away, and that is all part of the divine order of the universe. And we need to let go and let God. It's difficult. And it says here, we will make this first step into the unknown because we know God the good is with us. It is in us, all around us. And when we pray, we commune closer to the all-present, all-knowing, all-powerful. And we will write the first sentence in the new chapter. Letting go and letting God do God's work, trusting, even when the appearances, when the undaunted, we are undaunted by adverse circumstances. We don't allow ourselves to fall into despair. I was looking around for quotes and I found this guy named Hazrat Khan, which he's got some beautiful things, and it talks about one of the how do we let go and let God? How do we give up our thinking and our wills and align it with God's will? How do we do that? And he has this beautiful statement. I want to read it for you. The lover of goodness loves every little sign of goodness. He overlooks the faults and fills up the gaps by pouring out love and supplying that which is lacking. This is real nobility of soul. Religion, prayer, and worship are all intended to ennoble the soul, not to make it narrow or bigoted. One cannot arrive at true nobility of spirit if one is not prepared to forgive the imperfections of human nature. For all people, whether worthy or unworthy, require forgiveness, and only in this way can one rise above the lack of harmony and beauty. And that's what this talk is about, is rising above the lack of harmony and beauty. Rising above the lack of harmony and beauty. I had an interesting thing happen to me a few years ago. I was, at that time, I was the music director at Unity in San Luis Obispo. I was also directing a arts program at Atascadero State Hospital. I had a big band. I was teaching lessons. And also I was, I had a band and we were playing in nightclubs and weddings and whoever would pay us, we would show up and play. And my band came to me one day and said, "Hey, Rich, we're tired of traveling all over California and doing weddings and clubs. We want to tour the world. We're a great band and we deserve to tour the world." And I was like, tour the world, okay. So I was joking with my agent. I had an agent in those days who would just book us forever. I mean, he booked us in every possible venue he could find. And I was joking with him. I said, my band's they're tired of traveling. They're tired of doing gigs locally. They want to tour the world. You got anything going there? And he said, well, it just so happens in 2 weeks, the guy that books USO tours, and he's looking for a band to tour Asia. And I was like, that's a strange coincidence. So I arranged for an audition for this colonel who was booking the USO tours, and we put together this amazing show with costume changes. It was bizarre but fun. And sure enough, we were booked for a 7-week Asian tour within I think it was 3 months. 3 months later, we were on our tour of Asia. Talk about coincidences. Talk about allowing God to do God's work. I did not manifest that Asian tour. That was some other unseen force creating that. But the interesting thing and the miraculous thing that happened during that tour was we were doing a concert on the DMZ, which is the demilitarized zone between South Korea and North Korea. And our troops sign on for a year's tour of duty, and they are there to protect the border. People don't realize this, but we've been at war with North Korea since 1955 or 54, whatever. And so we did the show. And after the show, this soldier came up to me and said, "Hi, Richard, how you doing?" I go, "Hi, do I know you?" He goes, "Yes, you know me. I belong to the congregation at the Unity Church in San Luis Obispo." I was like, the odds on that happening are like, what, 1 zillion to 1? I don't know what that is. But he says, "Thanks for coming in and giving me a church service here in Korea." I was like, and at that time, we had these huge congregations. We had like 500, 700 people coming to see us every Sunday. I didn't recognize him. I was like, "So he goes, "Yeah, I used to come see you every Sunday. It was great seeing you here." I was like, maybe the Great Spirit booked me to do a service in Korea. It felt that way. It felt like there was some sort of divine guidance. And letting go to God's will, just realizing that we need to be undaunted or delayed by apparent adverse circumstances and fixate on the outcome that far transcends the predicament we are in. We don't know what fantastic, amazing experiences and joys may be coming our way this next year as we meet in person. I want to encourage you all to come out and see us. Let me tell you, Brian is way better looking in person. I've seen that guy up close. He's incredible. He's a good looking man. Need to see him up close. And he's tall. He's I don't know, he looks like a basketball player. Anyway, so I'm going to read this to you because I just thought this was fascinating. There are 2 symptoms of enlightenment. 2 symptoms. Just 2 indications that a transformation is taking place within you toward a higher consciousness. So a lot of you people are wondering, hey, well, how do I know if my consciousness is raising? Here is the answer, my friends, or at least a answer. First symptom is that you stop worrying. Things don't bother you anymore. I think I gave a talk a couple of weeks ago about worry is prayer in reverse. It's negative prayer. You are affirming what you don't want. We are here to be daunted, to not be daunted or delayed by apparent adverse circumstances. We are fixating on the outcome that far transcends the predicament that we are in. It transcends anything that we can possibly know. So anyway, hi Brian, you're on my screen now. Would you lip sync? Is it showtime? Are we getting close to the end? Okay, here we go. Let me read this to you. The first symptom is that you stop worrying. Things don't bother you anymore. The second symptom is that you encounter more and more meaningful coincidences in your life, more and more synchronicities, and this accelerates to the point where you actually experience the miraculous. That's a Deepak Chopra. Okay, so I'm going to end this talk. Brian, do you know you're the guy on the screen? Do you know that? Can you see yourself?
No.
Everyone thinks that I'm saying your mind. They think I'm saying what you think. Anyway.
You're on my screen.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, all I'm seeing is you, and you look good, buddy. Keep it up. Keep taking those vitamins. So anyway, I'm gonna end up my talk. I want to thank you all for showing up this morning. I can feel your spirit. I'm looking forward to seeing you in real person. I'm going to read a quote from Alan Cohen, and this is called The Role of the Faith Keeper. And many of you, we have wonderful faith keepers in our church, people that reach out to each other and affirm that we are one spirit and one mighty light. And I want to thank you for that. This church has been a tremendous support for me in the last 3 years. And I appreciate you. I am grateful. So Alan Cohen, The Role of Faith Keeper. You are now being called to assume the role of faith keeper. You cannot afford to spiral down the vortex of fear or dissension. You are appointed to provide light in the midst of darkness, trust in the face of anxiety, and remain established in peace while others get upset. Connected to source energy, you are in the best position to uplift others and serve as a role model to guide your peers towards resolution. Gandhi said, "The pure love of one person can offset the hatred of thousands." And so it is.
Okay, more music from Richard.
More love, more love. The heavens are blessing, the angels are calling. Oh Zion, more love, more love, more love. The heavens are blessing, the angels are calling. Oh Zion, more love. If you love not each other in daily communion, how can you love God whom you have not seen? If you love not each other in daily communion, how can you love God whom you have not seen? More love, more love. The heavens are blessing, the angels are calling. Oh Zion, more love, more love, more love. The heavens are blessing, the angels are calling. Oh Zion, more love, more love, more love. The heavens are blessing, the angels are calling. Oh Zion, more love. Breathe in love, breathe out, oh, breathe in